late night host of the Jimmy Kimmel Show, Jimmy Kimmel, just got canceled today, September 17th, 2025, from ABC. We will get into the reasons why and the lie.
Disney and the ABC network are taking Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air indefinitely. This follows a controversy over comments the late night comedian made Monday night about Charlie Kirk's suspected killer and the MAGA movement and their reaction to the assassination. Let's get straight to CNN's chief media affairs correspondent, Brian Stelter. Brian, what is going on?
That's right. This is fast developing this afternoon, Jake, amid pressure from the Trump-aligned FCC. And in the past few minutes, ABC confirmed to CNN the Kimmel Show will be off the air, quote, indefinitely. We have not yet heard from Kimmel or his representatives. That's how quickly this has been developing. But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. He said in between the finger pointing, there was grieving. Kimmel was expressing what we've heard some other liberals say in recent days, that the motives are unclear and that maybe the suspect in this case was a Republican or was some sort of far-right fringe figure. Of course, there has been a lot of discussion about that in recent days. There's a lot of evidence pointing in other directions about the suspect. But Kimmel was on the air talking about this, making a very serious commentary amid his jokes in his monologue Monday night. Here's where it became interesting earlier today. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, went on a far-right webcast and condemned Kimmel and urged ABC to suspend him. He also talked about possible regulatory punishments of Disney because there are lots of different stations that have licenses with the FCC. Within the past hour, we've heard from a big owner of stations that have affiliations with ABC, a company called Nexstar, saying that they were going to suspend Kimmel's show on their station. So in other words, about 24 stations were refusing to air Kimmel's show tonight as a result of this controversy. And then following word that some of those stations...
Well, so now you have to understand the backdrop of the controversy here with ABC. ABC just finished being judged upon for awarding Trump's lawsuit against ABC because George Stephanopoulos mischaracterized Jean E. Carroll's case against Trump in terms of inappropriate sexual behavior. Jean Carroll basically charged Trump or sued Trump for rape, went to court for it. There's an $83 million payout that Trump is trying to appeal right now. But George Stephanopoulos mischaracterized the whole Jean Carroll versus Trump in court over sexual misconduct as a rape charge or a rape conviction. President Trump was never ever charged of a rape conviction or a result of a judge culminating on a decision to label President Trump as a rapist in any criminal way. Now, what happened was the judge that tried the E.G. Carroll case found President Trump civilly liable for sexual misconduct or whatever. Even that's trumped up, no pun intended, right? But so you can have ABC say what they want to say or do what they want to do, but from the George Stephanopoulos case, it's like they've Trump has already defeated us. This is ABC talking to themselves, right? This is the same ABC that sponsors Jimmy Kimmel, right, for being canceled. ABC already lost a lawsuit involving George Stephanopoulos by mischaracterizing President Trump's situation in court with E.G. Carroll. He called him basically a rapist. And ABC is ordered to pay Trump $15 million. So they're not about to have Jimmy Kimmel lead them down the same path. The monetary consequences of loose cannons on TV, like Jimmy Kimmel and George Stephanopoulos, can cost ABC even more money.
We're basically revolting against Kimmel. Disney, the parent company of ABC, decided to yank the show entirely. So that's all we know at the moment. We know that Kimmel will not be on the air tonight or for the foreseeable future because the network says the show has been yanked off the air indefinitely.
Brian, just to take one issue, your interpretation of what Kimmel said, I think, is the one that Brendan Carr had and the one that the individuals at Nexstar have. But what he said specifically was, quote, the MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other.
I'm not going to get into the semantics here. Obviously, CNN is a propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, period. I know that because the Democratic Party, when they were in charge, they basically censored all speech surrounding the COVID-19 vaccine. And look, mRNA, whatever you, COVID-2, whatever you want to call it, right? YouTube is going to censor me anyhow, so I might as well gonna say what I'm going to say. And so you got the same party that went after cabinet members of President Trump in his first term, jailed Steve Bannon, jailed a couple of other people, and then in Fulton County, Georgia, ruining lives of lawyers who were on the first term of President Trump's term, ruining their lives, you know? And so I'm not going to get into this propaganda of he said, she said, but this is what Jimmy Kimmel actually said that landed him in hot water.
This kid who murdered Charlie Kirk is anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see.
So basically what Jimmy Kimmel is suggesting here is that what Jimmy Kimmel is in hot water for is that despite the evidence from the shooter who shot Charlie Kirk, He's obviously apprehended right now. He's obviously in jail, awaiting trial. I think the trial took place sometime this week. And with all the evidence gathering, we know that the shooter's relatives have cooperated with law enforcement in saying that he became radicalized over the past year. He was romantically involved with a biologically born male that was transitioning into a female. He etched phrases in bullet casings before being expended. Hey, catch, fascist. Okay? I can go through video after video showing you how the far left lunatics are hell-bent on calling President Trump a fascist, calling his followers fascists, his cabinet members fascists, VP fascists, all coming from the left. All coming from the left. And so to say that we're both siding the violent political rhetoric, it's mostly coming from the left. And for these guys to both sides this over the weekend and try to make the Charlie Kirk shooter to be some type of far right conservative, it all failed. They tried to both sides this thing. That's failing too in light of the information that's coming out from the killer. But hey, listen, we got into the Jimmy Kimmel. We are going to get into the reason why, and we're exposing a lie on what CNN reported. Because what CNN reported on the Charlie Kirk shooter being far right or MAGA, this flies in the face of what we already know. And Scott Jennings couldn't make the point much better, if you bear with me.
Torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then he took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it.
I think he could hear it. I think he also, I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally.
Guys, the evidence here is overwhelming.
He's going to cook.
He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left.
Yo,
the statements
look,
that are made by about
I just want
conservatives and Charlie Kirk.
Hey, I just want to point out the look on Montel Williams' face, man. Yo, that shit is bug, man. Look at that. Montel Williams is at a loss for words at this point. He's speechless. He is speechless. Yo, Scott Jennings is cooking. He's cooking. Just like me. I'm cooking. I'm cooking on this channel. You heard?
Fascist on the bullet casings.
He made a joke about it in his last text.
Well, it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead and about to be buried.
Well,
so it doesn't sound like a joke to me.
I mean,
So I'm just telling you there was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and testimony comes out. We are looking around the edges of this for something other than what's staring us in the face. Left-wing radicalism got this kid. He went up to a roof and he murdered our friend, and that's what happened.
Yeah, he said, staring him in the face. The fact that he etched here, fascist catch, right? Who's been calling Trump and Trump supporters fascists? The lunatic left. He had a romantic relationship with a biologically born male that was transitioning into a female, right? And all this other kind of hate speech in a so-called manifesto or in a group chat or a text message thread or whatever the case is. But hey, let me know what you think. I got all my comments on. So if you hate this content, if you love this content, comment in the section below. I will be sure to read every message and respond to it in kind with facts. All right? Catch you in the next video.